Hey, what's going on, folks? Thank you for dropping in on the channel. This is Just My Opinion with Ryan, and today simply want to discuss Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. This is directed by Johannes Roberts. For those who are unfamiliar with his work, some notable movies from him is 47 Meters Down, and one of my favorites, Strangers Pray at Night. So this is one of his latest projects. Once again, he decided to take a stab at the Resident Evil movies. Once again, this is based off a video game. Huge fan. Fun fact, it definitely was one of the first, the first video game that I was completely shook to play. I'm talking about, I'm thinking twice before I open doors. I'm thinking twice before I enter hallways. Resident Evil was one of those games. So actually maybe like the pioneer. But anyway, so Claire Redfield returns to Raccoon City, where she's originally from, so she can reunite with her brother Chris. Chris is a police officer within the Raccoon City police department, and she comes back to try to warn him of a conspiracy theory that she heard. Pretty much, a reporter is saying that the Umbrella Corporation has indirectly contaminated the water after leaving that area. This causes people to turn into zombies. So, being that she's worried about her brother, she goes in to warn him, and along the way tries to save whoever she can during that process. So that's pretty much what the movie is about. Overall, it left me feeling like Tyra Banks.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this.
This is just, we were rooting for you. There could have been some opportunities that could have been very, very vital. Just some missed opportunities that I felt like Roberts could have taken advantage of. For example, Lisa Trevor. I was so hyped to see Lisa Trevor introduced into this movie. She actually is introduced as Claire's childhood friend or mystery friend, and that's pretty much all we know. Is like, that's it. She returns. She's in the beginning of the movie, and she comes back up towards the end to help out Claire. But that's it. But for my real video game fans of Resident Evil, there's a deeper backstory to Lisa Trevor, which I felt like really could have been explored. I mean, the story is so tragic. She actually was held captive by the Umbrella Corporation and had all these weird, inhumane experiments ran on her and her mother, by the way. So experiments were ran on both the mother and daughter. Mother passes away or gets put down by the researchers after some failed attempts or failed results. Meanwhile, Lisa Trevor is still continuing to have all these inhumane experiments ran on her, and this whole time she's unaware that her mother is dead. So, she simply has like this ongoing quest of trying to find where her mother is. She just is, in the video game, she's lurking throughout the mansion, throughout Raccoon City, looking for her mother. And she kills anyone that crosses her path. And that's actually one of the things I was also excited about. The graphics and the makeup was very well done. What Lisa Trevor's face was supposed to represent, those are actually faces of her victims that she's killed, along the way of trying to find her real mother. So I do feel like that was a missed opportunity that would have been so dope to take advantage of. And the movie is under 2 hours, so it would have taken like a good extra 10 minutes maybe to throw in a little bit more of a backstory with Lisa Trevor. Another misstep, in my opinion, was actually Leon Kennedy. Leon Kennedy is introduced as this Gomer Pyle, goofball type of guy.
Gosh, Ollie, Shazam, gosh, Shazam.
Trips over his own feet. Looks like, you look at him and you wonder how did he become a police officer. He's actually a rookie in this movie. And once again, for my true Resident Evil fans out there, Leon was that dude. Leon was just as a badass as Chris and Claire Redfield, okay? But when you look at the movie, he's giving you all types of Gomer Pyle energy. And it's like, this is not Leon. And I understand. Like, I understand that, when directors, when they do a movie, they can venture off from the original, source material. I completely understand that. That's done with video games, books, etc. But this was quite extreme. I'm saying, like, how you go from, Leon Kennedy that we all know and love to this, once again, this Gomer Pyle type of dude. So that was very, very just inaccurate, I guess. I would say inaccurate in a sense. Yeah, so that part was also missed. It's almost like if you were to Wolverine, for example. If you saw an X-Men movie and Wolverine came off like a goofball for the whole 90 minutes, and then like the last 5 minutes of the movie, he's a Wolverine that we know today, it would turn you off. So that was a bit of a turn off for me. And just the final part for me that was a misstep was the reporter who warned Claire in the first place about this whole conspiracy theory. I mean, he knows, what's turning people into zombies. He knows how to kill them. He has all the, ins and outs of what you need to know about this whole zombie apocalypse thing that's going on in Raccoon City. And so to have him in a cell with a zombie, and he has a gun, for him to get killed by his cellmate who was turning into a zombie was, it felt like lazy writing in a sense. And so those were just some of the things that really could have been done in a different way. And I know it sounds like I'm coming down hard on this movie, but as I mentioned earlier, it actually is a good movie. And I think it's actually a much better attempt at some of the previous versions. And you all know the ones that we've talked about, the ones that came out in like the early 2000s, late 90s and so forth. So I am hopeful, moving forward. The way things ended with this movie, I could tell that, there will be some sequels down the line at some point. So I'm very hopeful that things will get bigger and better as it continues. There were other Easter eggs throughout the movie as well, like the Ashford Twins, for example, from Resident Evil Veronica. The twins, basically. So the twins were in this movie for like a brief 30 seconds. So I do feel like they're going to venture into that story. Hopefully they'll get more in depth to like the backstory and avoid the Lisa Trevor mistake that they made in this one, but not exploring that too much. So I am very hopeful when it comes to small Easter eggs like that they can explore in, movies down the line and other sequels. So I would highly recommend Resident Evil gamers to go see this movie. You definitely will have some nostalgic, reminiscing values about it. As I mentioned, like some of the settings and the scenes remind you a lot of the Raccoon City video game or Resident Evil 2. So I definitely recommend you see it if you're definitely familiar with the game. If you're unfamiliar with the game, I don't recommend you see it because you're going to leave the theater with just a lot of unanswered questions. You're going to wonder why certain characters are introduced and that's it. There's no backstory about why that person's there. So you'll have some unanswered questions if you're not familiar with the game. So that's just my review. Thank you all for checking this out. Once again, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. There's going to be more movie reviews, episode recaps, some top 5 discussions down the line. And this is Ryan signing out.